So I first met Justin 13 years ago. We worked together on the Kokanee Glacier Alpine Campaign, it was called. That campaign was done in honor of Michelle, Justin's youngest brother, who died tragically in Kokanee Glacier Park about 15 years ago now. So 13 years ago, the Trudeau family was kind enough to lend their name and their energy and their talent to fundraising to build a new public cabin up in Kokanee Glacier Park. So over the next year or so, with the help of Justin, and Justin was directly involved in the campaign, we raised over $1 million across Canada, along with the help of people like Nancy Green-Rain, of course, who was Canada's athlete of the century for the 20th century, Roberta Bondar, Canada's first woman astronaut, and I brought her to Cranbrook as a guest at a conference I was hosting. So the involvement with our region has been there for a number of years, directly from the Trudeau family. And it was about 10 years ago and 1 week, 10 years 1 week ago, when we opened the Kokanee Glacier cabin with the help of Justin's brother Sasha and his mother Margaret. So the roots go deep in the Kootenays here in many different ways, and we're just so fortunate to have Justin with us today. So I wanted to thank Justin for his confidence in us 13 years ago to lend us the Trudeau name and to do the fundraising and build this exceptional cabin. And I'd like to thank Justin today for having confidence and faith in the future of Canada, and enough faith to become the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. So let's welcome Justin.
Thanks, Wayne. It's great to see you as always. Always a little emotional because, as Wayne said, it was an emotional time for us. And I have to tell you, it's a real pleasure to be back in Cranbrook with my family. My kids are playing in the shade over there, and my wife is unfortunately a little under the weather today, so she's not going to be able to join us at this particular stop. But for me, this is about sharing an extraordinary, beautiful part of the world with my family and reconnecting with the good people who live around here. I spent many years out here, traveling, skiing, making friends, meeting friends. My first experience in the Kootenays was paddling down the Kootenay River with my dad and my brothers and John Gow. Who taught us how to paddle in the Rockies, and that was probably 25, 30 years ago that we did that. And for me, this extraordinary part of the world remains an extremely important part of my life, and it's a pleasure to be here and to be sharing in this beautiful day with all of you. This is an opportunity for me, as I've been seeking out over the past years, to connect with people. Not necessarily to talk about politics with a big P, but to talk about the challenges we're facing all together and how we're going to best solve them. When I see engaged, active, interested citizens of this country everywhere I go, people who are active in their communities, people who are conscious of the challenges their town, their province is facing, people who want to help out with local community projects or nonprofit organizations, or even weigh their voices into big international issues, and be part of bigger conversations about where we're going in the world. And I can't be in Cranbrook without giving a shout out to Scott Niedermeyer, who's been just extraordinary over the past while in his activism, both for the Great Bear Rainforest against the Northern Gateway Pipeline, but also around here on local issues touching the environment, including the proposed mega resort. Scott is one of those people who is always focused on doing the right thing and winning the right way as part of a team. And I'm touched to be in his town here today, a town that's so proud of being. I was remembering this. He is, and you guys I know of course will know this. He is the winningest hockey player to ever walk this earth. No other hockey player has won every single tournament at every single level of his game, from junior championships all the way up to Stanley Cup and Olympic gold medals twice. So, I mean, really, he's someone to celebrate. But that kind of activism that he's engaged in now, the kind of activism that all of us are engaged in now, comes easy to us because we surround ourselves with beautiful places that we want to protect. We see our kids growing up. We want to help make a better world for them. So why has politics itself become such a dirty word? Why are we always ready to try and work together to build a better community and better world? But as soon as it comes to thinking about politicians and public service that way, we turn away. It's because over the past years, politics has become an incredible source of cynicism. Because it's always easier in politics to divide, to attack, to go negative, to calculate where the most votes are and play to them and ignore anyone who's not likely to vote for you. You can actually, we have a government right now that, if you ask me, is proof of that. You can actually get elected with a majority through the politics of division. But what I feel they're also proof of is that it becomes very difficult to govern responsibly for the whole of the country and for the long-term interests that we hold once you've gotten in the habit of division and attacks and negativity. And that's very much what I'm trying to turn around. Everywhere I go, I talk with people who are hopeful about their community, about their role within the community, about their country, about where we need to go and how we can get there together. People who want to be part of something different. People who are tired of sending strong voices from their community to Ottawa to be their voice there, and instead getting back strong voices for the Prime Minister in their community. That's a backwards approach to politics. We need to have people who speak for you in Ottawa. And that's why everything that I'm doing is focused on openness, transparency, accountability, and a level of engagement with citizens that means I'm not going to come up with a list of policies and platforms and present them to Canadians and say, this is the solution for us. I want to build that list of policies and platforms together with you. And I've got lots of different ways of engaging communities with that. But more than that, I've promised open nominations in every single riding. I will not designate in any community the Liberal candidate. It will be the communities themselves who choose who will be their voice in Ottawa. And then get into Ottawa, the level of transparency, the level of free votes, the level of openness and responsibility that every MP will have to actually weigh in on what their community wants and the values that they were chosen to represent their community with is what politics should be about. Now, I've been in a number of arguments with pundits and journalists and even people within my own party who say, Justin, you know at one point you're going to have to go negative because that's what politics is. And you can't just sit back and have people steamroll over you. You have to show that you can fight back. I said, well, first of all, anyone who saw my boxing match knows that I can fight back. But you cannot start lowering the level of discourse. You cannot start pandering to the lowest common denominator and actually expect that once you get elected, you're going to be able to actually get anything done. You can go negative in order to get elected and get elected. But I'm just not interested in just getting elected. I'm interested in bringing forward the kind of solutions and answers for this country that we desperately need. And that's why the focus I've had has been on hope and hard work, because these are the things that define Canada. This country is made up of people who came from around the world 10 years ago, 400 years ago, 10,000 years ago, and hoped they were going to build a better life for themselves and their children, and then worked hard to do just that. And every successive generation has created greater opportunities for the next generation than the previous one received from their parents. That's been the story of success in Canada, of progress, of growth, of upward mobility, of working hard and creating a brighter future for our kids. That's why we're able to look beyond all the differences that make up our communities, all the different perspectives, and understand that we are strong not in spite of those differences, but because of them. But the reality is, as soon as people start to realize, as we are these days, that maybe the next generation won't have it as good as this one did. Maybe we're stuck in a stagnation. We're looking at the flailing and the failing of a middle class, increased income inequality, an economy that has more than doubled, grown over 100% over the past 30 years, while median family incomes, that's average middle class incomes, have stalled, increasing only 13%. People have questions about a future in which environmental concerns, a robust economy, the balance between the haves and the have-nots, social inequality, social justice, and human rights around the world are all coming to bear at the same time. And we're going to need a fresh set of solutions and an honest, bold perspective that's going to create those solutions. Well, that doesn't happen by dividing. It happens by pulling together. It happens by each and every one of us knowing that we can step up and be part of that solution. And that's why I'm so touched and honored to be so welcomed by you here today, and why so many of you, I've seen, are signing up to be part of this. And there's lots of ways for you to get involved. You can sign up and be on the email list. You can make a small donation. You can become active and maybe even become a candidate one day for us, or shortly for us. What I want is a level of active citizenship that does not turn away from politics, but that understands that we have an opportunity in this extraordinary place, in this fantastic country, to show the world how we can get it right. Because the world needs the solutions we have to offer. And the only way we do that is by pulling together, rolling up our sleeves, and getting it done. And I thank you for all your hope that that's going to happen. Merci beaucoup, mes amis. Ça me fait vraiment plaisir d'être ici. Thank you all.